Welcome to Chamber Connection. I'm Mary Hodson, and as you can see, I am not in my usual seat. I do not have my usual footstool, which is a toolbox to hold my feet up. I am at Zella's on Main Street here in Hutchinson. They have been gracious enough to let us come and interview Governor Tim Pawlenty. Welcome to Hutchinson.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
We are thrilled to have you. Most people are thinking, why does Mary have a politician on her show? Well, it's really because we want to make sure that the public and our business people have an opportunity to make decisions for themselves. Hear from our legislators who are going to be working for us. We do not endorse any politician or any party, but we do believe it's really important people get to know who you are.
I'm glad that's of interest to you and to your show and to your listeners. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
So for all 15 people who are watching, or maybe 115 or all 15,000. Let's just start with a little bit of getting to know who you are. So just tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I grew up in South St. Paul, Minnesota, which is Dakota County. My dad was a truck driver for most of his life. My mom was a homemaker for much of her life. She died when I was 16 of ovarian cancer. My dad lost his job for a while, not too long after that, which puts you in kind of a high school age bracket with a mom who's passed away and a dad who's laid off. Life gets a little scary.
Yep.
I was the youngest of 5 children. I was the only one to go to college in my family.
Okay.
It's not that my brothers and sisters didn't have the the capacity to do that. They just didn't have the opportunity in terms of the resources and the like.
Brothers, sisters?
2 brothers, 2 sisters, and
then here comes you.
Here comes
right?
me. Went off to the University of Minnesota and was there for 7 years.
Okay.
Although, Mary, I got 2 degrees in 7 years, so I got a law degree. And then I started out practicing law as a criminal prosecutor at sort of low-level crimes, prosecuting misdemeanors and gross misdemeanors. Was a lawyer for a while and went off to be part of a business, a 1990s internet business, and then got involved on the side in local and state politics along the way.
Yeah, because you did start at the local level. I saw that this morning. I actually did a little bit of research. So you started right at the local
did some
level.
Research?
I did.
Oh,
right?
Awesome. Incredible.
I know.
See, you're the host of the show, you're the star of the show, and you're doing the research.
And I'm doing the research.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive.
And by the way, we're in the middle of Water Carnival week. I'm just saying, you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah. What's your role in Water Carnival Week?
I am the official master or mistress of ceremonies.
Ah.
Yes.
So you're doing some MC work.
So I do a lot of MC work, so a lot of script work, and I also crack the whip when it comes to practice.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
All right.
I make sure everybody makes it look good. It's a show for people.
I like
so let's talk about when you started at the local level. What made you did you ever think that you were going to go into politics?
I was going to be a dentist, so I went to the University of Minnesota to be pre-dentistry. I took an organic or inorganic chemistry class, didn't like it.
That'll do it.
Started to search around for what else I might be interested in or be good at, and so I ended up going to a very wise counselor. And of course, at the time, it seemed like I was talking to Methuselah or somebody, but it actually was like a 25-year-old graduate student who was part-time, guidance counselor.
Right, yeah.
And he said, just do what you like, where your passion is. And my passion was in public policy and public service, and so that led to sort of an exploration of politics and public service. But locally, I was in Eagan at a time when the city was going from no development to a ton of development. There was a lot of local controversy around what should go where and all of that. So I got on the planning commission, and that was really enjoyable. And it was good but hard work because it was a busy time.
Yeah, because you have to really kind of dive in when you're there, because you have a learning curve of the information, and then it's coming at you when people are presenting ideas.
Well, one thing I like, and I'm sure you've seen this in Hutch and surrounding areas, being in local government, whether it's on the planning commission or the city council. We had 5 people on the city council, 2 council members and a mayor, and if you could get 2 other people to agree with you, you had a majority, get something done. And it wasn't particularly partisan, but the other thing that was really cool was that this was democracy in action, in the sense that the people showed up. And if you did something that annoyed the public, they didn't, write in. They came to the meetings and they were right there. And it was a really great form of personal democracy, and it made a big difference. I enjoyed it tremendously. It was great, a great example of having a chance to serve the public locally.
So you went through doing more state level, and then came governor.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Well, my wife Mary played a big role in this. So I was finishing up my time as majority leader in the Minnesota legislature, and some people had encouraged me to run for governor, and I decided actually not to run. And I came home and told my wife Mary that, and I said, I'm decided not to do this, and I don't think it's a good idea, and I think we should just get on with the rest of our lives. And she grabbed me by the lapels and she said, it was in the back hallway between our house and the garage, and she said, you have to do this. There's nobody else who can do that. You're the only one who can win. You got to get out there and you got to do this. And I felt like Rocky Balboa, at least for a minute, not in physique, but in mentality.
She was your Adrian.
Yeah, she is my Adrian. And so I somewhat surprisingly got elected. Nobody really knew who I was. I didn't have much money and got elected. And after I got elected, we went through the election, the transition, the inaugural State of the State address. There was a big recession, a big budget deficit, had a big scheduling crunch. We had young kids then, and Mary and I had some differences about my schedule. And she was mad at me. And I was an early month of being governor.
Well, she's a wife and her name is Mary.
And she was giving me the what for one night. And I said, don't you remember, you're the one who told me to do this? You're the one who gave me that inspiring speech? I said, you encouraged this. Then there was this awkward silence, and she said, yeah, but I never thought you would actually win. She said, I just wanted you to get it out of your system so that we can get on with life. And I thought, you rascal, you were trying to outmaneuver me.
All right, she tried to outsmart you.
Yeah.
And how did that end up? So
it
now,
ended up well, and she's wonderful, and I appreciate it. But I wouldn't be governor without her encouraging and inspiring it.
So what has brought you to the point to get back into the governor's race?
Well, it's a tremendous opportunity to serve, and I think two things I would highlight. One is the politics of our state and our nation are toxic, and I think we need experienced, seasoned leaders who are willing to.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It's toxic? I've never noticed anything. Yeah.
You're shocked.
Right. Shocked. Really shocked.
I think seasoned, strong leaders who are willing to take some hits can make a big contribution to bring sides together to get things done. And two is there's a unique opportunity in Minnesota because the legislature right now is both House and Senate is Republican. If you get a Republican governor, you could really get some things done. And so that part of it is exciting. I want to run to get things done for Minnesota.
So let's talk a little bit now about the business climate in Minnesota. Obviously, as the chamber, we are supporting our businesses. We're trying to provide them opportunities to be more knowledgeable, and we want them to succeed. And right now, the environment at the Capitol isn't super pro-business, right? We're not getting a lot of things done for our businesses. So talk about that. If you're elected governor, again, what is it going to look like, or what needs to happen to be a little bit, let's not be the number 3 state in the country when it comes to business taxes.
Thank you. Minnesota is a wonderful state, but it is a high tax state, and I think you have to be a real, I'll say extremist, to look at Minnesota's situation and conclude we're under tax. So I think we need tax relief in the state of Minnesota. In addition, though, when you talk to people who are entrepreneurs, small business owners, I know you do this all day, every day, all week, every week, and it varies a little bit from business owner to business owner, but the common refrain is, it is hard to be an entrepreneur. It's hard to be a small business owner and founder. It's hard to grow a business. Please do things to encourage me, not to discourage me as an entrepreneur. And so I think the next governor could help a lot, whether it's in taxes, regulation, common sense approaches to things, just like can we do things faster, permitting faster, build infrastructure faster. That would make a big difference to the business community. We need to lighten the load, not make it heavier. We need to welcome business growth and investment, not discourage it.
We took our Leadership Institute class this year. We always take them up to the Capitol. And something was different this year. This year, there was this aura of, we keep stepping on our own toes. We keep creating things that we are not following up on. We're creating more barriers than we are helping businesses and people in general. They were talking about, like the license issue and things like that, where we don't have any follow-up for some of those things that we put in place. How do we change some of the regulations so we don't have people creating regulations that they don't really know the subject.
Sure.
They're not the expert.
Well, one important thing we can do is put people in the position of commissioners who are in charge of these agencies and departments who have real world experience, common sense, and practical knowledge about the things and people that they're supposedly regulating. So they don't just come with book smarts, or they don't just come with some sort of political background, but they come with subject matter knowledge because they've actually done it.
Yep.
You know, I talked to some farmers yesterday or day before in another community, and they said, you know, we'd really like a secretary or commissioner of agriculture who has been a farmer.
Right. Yeah.
And it makes total sense. And it doesn't mean you throw all the regulations out the window, but it means you come at it with a perspective of somebody who's actually done it, who's touched it, who's felt it, who understands how difficult it can be.
Who's really been there in the trenches,
Yes.
probably actually knows what a dairy parlor is.
Exactly. That's
And
exactly
it's not
right.
a place where you hold a party.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. That's
okay.
right.
Let's talk about your priorities as you're running and you're talking to the public. What do you want them to know about what is important to you?
Well, I have one main overarching theme in this campaign, and that is this is going to be about those in the middle, people who are working hard, middle income, modest income Minnesotans who can't seem to get ahead, or if they are ahead, they're barely ahead, and one hiccup in their life can set them back in a big way, maybe an irretrievable way. So, as I say, the rich are going to be fine. The poor in Minnesota have access to pretty good government programs compared to other states, and we need to do things that are going to relieve the pressure on modest and middle income Minnesotans, and that's driving down health insurance premiums to try to make them more affordable. Two is we need to make sure we have tax relief, including tax relief targeted to middle and modest income people. And three is we need to get our next generation and our current generation skilled and educated in a way that allows them to connect to the economy of today and tomorrow. Because
so you get it.
That's the pathway to a good quality of life.
Pathway, Tiger Path, just saying,
Yeah.
Nice connection. So we have a very vibrant workforce initiative,
I know.
which is a collaboration between EDA, Chamber, local business, Ridgewater College, and the school district. And so that's one of the things that's so important in our community is our businesses have been stepping up to try to help get kids the understanding and the information and their parents to be able to, it's okay to get a 1 or 2 year degree. You can go get 4 years, but we really need to match our skills with our employers' needs.
You totally just nailed it. And so we're promoting exactly that, and I think Hutch has got a really promising model in this regard. Nationally, you know, if you go to college, try to get a 4-year degree, half the kids drop out before they get a 4-year degree, and they're often deeply in debt, and they end up in jobs that don't pay that well.
Absolutely.
And you know the rest of the story. If you go get a 2-year college degree, in many cases you can make more money with more benefits, and the employers are lining up to hire you if you've got the right training. And so understanding what that demand is, making sure our programs in the high school and the technical colleges are aligned to that, incentivizing apprenticeship experiences, partnering with the private sector, those are all things that we need to do going forward. And that's just one example of how we can improve our workforce training and education system.
So do you think that there's opportunity for government to help businesses that are working toward workforce? What is the word that I want? Initiatives, but solutions. So we have so many businesses that are like giving lots of money, giving lots of in-kind services. They're in the classrooms. Do you think there's opportunity there?
Yes, absolutely. So there is, again, a 4-year college degree is great for those that seek it and are interested in it, but it just may
Or
not be...
a 7-year degree or 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It may not be the best pathway for everybody, but in
Right.
terms of the role for private businesses, you look at some of the partnerships that are going on. I was in Fairmont the other day. We've got a welding program there in the high school. Local companies sponsoring the welding booth, helping to buy the equipment. By the way, lining up to hire people who come out of high school, even at the high school level, job waiting for them if they want it after completing some of the welding curriculum, and helping with the training. And there's a great partnership, and I think we should be bold about the possibility of these partnerships, because a lot of times government says, oh, you know, it's business, so we don't want to get too close to them. We want to do it appropriately, of course. But I think that we need to be thinking about being partners, not it's us versus them or they're in a different category.
Right. I love that. I think that for us, it's such a collaborative effort and a collaborative community that we're in. And so the us and them doesn't apply anymore.
Right.
It can't.
That's
If we're all going to succeed,
yeah,
we all have to be in it.
Absolutely.
You had said something about one hiccup can create devastation. And with cancer and some of the deep cancers, some of the very serious rare cancers, people lose everything.
Yeah.
And insurance is really top of mind for so many people, whether you're at the business level or an individual because you have insurance from a business. So any ideas of how we're going to be able to create something that works for people?
You just put your finger on another really important topic for families, individuals who are stressed financially. They're worried about skyrocketing premium costs. Healthcare premiums going up. Since Obamacare, they have spiked. And one model I like, there's many things we need to do, but one model I like is if you're my doctor and I'm your patient, I think you should have to tell people what your prices are ahead of time. And
because my hairstylist has to tell me a price.
Yeah, and
right?
I think there should be quality ratings that are available to the patient so they can make some judgments about your quality. And then we should allow patients to comparison shop. And if they're able to achieve some savings in this comparison shopping model, the patient should get to pocket the savings. And that's called a shared savings model. I'm excited about making that a big part of the campaign. It's not the only thing we need to do for health premium reductions or insurance cost reductions, but it is one thing. And I think it would work. It's market forces as opposed to, frankly, the other side of the aisle wants to have the government take over the system in what's called a single-payer healthcare system. I think that's a really bad idea.
Okay, great. So what are you looking forward to most now as you're really kind of ramping up to November, right? So June, July, August, September, October. I did not have to take shoes off, but you got about 6 months. What are you looking forward to?
Well, I love the campaign. I love talking to people. I learn. You and I are going to be in a roundtable discussion in just a little while. Every day you get to talk to an educator, a business person, a teacher, somebody who's a social worker, just a concerned parent, and they tell you things. And all day, every day, you get to learn about people's ideas, their concerns, their worries, and being able, first of all, it's just interesting, but second of all, being in a position to potentially do something to help is a wonderful opportunity, and I'm glad to be in the race, and I really enjoy every day.
Good. If you're able to then move on to the governor's mansion, what's Mary going to say?
Well, last time we lived in our house in Egan most of the time, or at least much of the time, because we have various other situations with our children and dogs and the like. Mary is doesn't enjoy politics quite as much as I do. She's very interested in policy, but less interested in kind of some of the nonsense that goes on in campaigns.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we start wrapping up, what are the last things that you want the people of Hutchinson watching this program today? What do you want them to know about you as a gentleman running for office?
Well, one thing additional I'd like them to know is I'm not signing any pledges of any interest group. I'm not filling out any questionnaires of any interest group. I'm going to say what I believe in this campaign. I feel I have the name ID and the record that stands and speaks for itself. And I skipped over my party's endorsing convention, not because I want to disrespect the delegates and alternates of the conventions, but I want more people at the grassroots level to weigh in the primary as to who they want their candidate to be. And I think I can offer them, I think, a strength and an ability to do things that most other candidates can't. There's probably no other candidate in this race who's not going to already have pre-committed to a bunch of interest groups. I haven't, and I won't, and I'm going to do what I think is right for Minnesota. And that's what's driving me in this race.
Wonderful. Well, again, I want to thank you for your time. I can hear the buzz out in the other room, and I want to make sure our businesses get an opportunity to talk to you. But I thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you, Mary.
To come to Hutchinson, to be able to sit down and chat with us today. Again, a special thank you to Zella's for clearing out the room and making the restaurant available to us so we can have these conversations that are really important to all of us in the community. I hope you join us again next month. Remember, if you have any questions, you can call the office at 587-5252 or go to our website, Explore Hutchinson. Remember, #MuchInHutch. award-winning Much in Hutch, and we will see you next month. Thank you again, Governor.
Thank you, Mary. Happy to be with you.